Notice how the SHF has those like soft features, right? That is not how the anime and manga look. They look sharp, detailed, and visually beautiful. If SHF looked like a perfect recreation of the anime and manga, we wouldn't need third-party head sculpts. We wouldn't need this if Legendary Super Saiyan Goku already looked like this, right? We wouldn't need this if the Super Saiyan 2 Goku already looked like this, right? But we need these because they make this generic soft feature nonsense. Let's look at Games Begin Goku. So we saw before Ryu compared to his art, right, from the movie, right? See how the figure looks like the movie. The figure looks fantastic. The movie looks fantastic, right? Let's look at Games Begin Goku compared to the manga and the anime, right? So Games Begin Goku, the so-called greatest Goku ever to many people, it does not have the it factor that it should. When you look at this figure, you don't feel like, wow, that looks straight out of the anime, man, straight out the manga. Like you don't get that feeling because it doesn't capture that sharp, beautiful aesthetic. It doesn't capture that. It has kind of like a generic feeling to it. Like some of the face sculpts look pretty good in certain lighting and stuff like that, of course, but it doesn't strike you as like, this thing looks like I literally just grabbed Goku out of the manga and he was an action figure, right? That is what it should look like. Games Begin Goku should look like a plastic version of this. This is what it should look like. This right here. It's even called Games Begin. This is the beginning of the games, the beginning of the Cell games. When I look at this manga panel and I look at the SH Figuarts, I should be like, wow, it looks exactly like it. This is crazy, you know? But you don't feel that way because it doesn't, okay? Like, yeah, for example, some third-party head sculpts, you know, kind of capture that feeling. I feel like even the third party though, even some of the third party stuff, like even though it's really good, I think SH Figuarts figures really suffer from a lack of shading, because if we go back to Ryu here, like there's so much, like his muscles have this like shading going on there, and like the gi has this texture on it, and like there's some darkened parts and stuff, and like it really brings the figure to a whole other level. But look at Games Begin Goku, the only shading is right here on the legs. Like that's so weird. Why? Just right there on the legs. Everything else is just plain plastic, just plain basic plastic, you know, just so plain. If this had some shading, it would probably make it look way better, right? Like there's a guy on Instagram, I think it's called AVT Customs, and when he makes custom figures, he gives them like this really incredible shading, and it really makes the figures look like really good, you know? So I feel SH Figuarts really suffer from a lack of shading. It makes them look so much more basic than they should. So yeah, Games Begin Goku should look exactly like this, okay? If you want a figure that has kind of this generic, you know, like, you know, not that super sharp detailed look, leave that to Dragon Stars. Let that be Dragon Stars, right? But when you're talking about SH Figuarts, right? We buy SH Figuarts because we want the best figures possible, right? We buy SH Figuarts because we want this. This is what we want. We want this in a action figure, but we don't get that, okay? SH Figuarts should look like art. I mean, it's just common sense, right? No genericness, just true to the source material. If you're making Games Begin Goku, make it look like this manga panel right here. Okay, that is the Games Begin Goku. The Games Begin Goku should look like that, right? Let's continue now. And the manga, the anime, of course, is like very similar to the manga here. Doesn't look like that either. Games Begin Goku doesn't look like this either, does he? No, he doesn't. He has this big banana yellow hair, and like, well, I mean, this hair is kind of yellow too, but it doesn't have that sharpness and the shape and the detail, and it just doesn't pop. It doesn't pop like these do. Okay, look at this. This is such beautiful art, right? This should be figure art, okay? let's look at these face sculpts. Notice how the SHF has those like soft features, right? That is not how the anime and manga look. They look sharp, detailed, and visually beautiful. Look how beautiful this is, right? Just looking at it is a good experience. You know, just looking at it is a wonderful experience. This too. When you look at this, is like, you know, it looks pretty good, I guess. You know, it's not like it's not trash, you know, but it doesn't give you the same feeling as this. Imagine an action figure that actually looked like this. That would be crazy. That's what SH Figuarts should be. But they're not, right? They're not. And for me, it kind of feels like I've been lied to. It feels like I've been lied to because for quite some time, I was under the impression of like, oh, SH Figuarts, man, they look like the anime. They look whatever. And then now that I'm really taking the time to compare these things, I'm like, no, they actually don't. They actually really don't. They look very generic, very basic. They don't look like this. They don't look like, and it kind of saddens me. It's like, this doesn't even exist. Like, this is not even, I can't even find Hot Toys making this or something. Like, it just doesn't exist. There is no Goku that looks like this. It doesn't exist, you know? Like these, you know, this doesn't look like an incredible recreation of the art, okay? But the thing is, the weird thing is, the upsetting thing is, Bandai can do better. Bandai could make this. I believe they could make this, but they don't, at least not for SH Figuarts, as you will see later. Third-party head sculpts, right? If SHF looked like a perfect recreation of the anime and manga, we wouldn't need third-party head sculpts. We wouldn't need this if Legendary Super Saiyan Goku already looked like this, right? We wouldn't need this if the Super Saiyan 2 Goku already looked like this, right? But we need these because they make this generic soft feature nonsense. I don't want it, you know, I don't want that. I want something better. I want Bandai to make stuff that looks like this or better. This is what Bandai should be making. This is what SH Figuarts should be. For the prices they ask, you want $65 and you're going to give me this? I mean, of course, this is like a $35, but Legendary Super Saiyan Goku is similar face style, you know? You want $65 for this? No, I want this. If you want $65 from me, I want my Goku to look like this. That's what I want for $65. If you want $65, I want that as an action figure. That's what I want, okay? Just continuing here. This does not look, as I said, this is the same notes as before, it's fine. But yeah, third-party stuff, here we go. So notice how these third-party head sculpts, like they pop, right? They capture that sharpness of Toriyama's art much better, right? When you look at these, your eyes are like pleased. You're like, wow, man, look at that. It looks like the manga, it looks like the anime. Like, that is spot on stuff. Look how sharp the jawline is, right? This is what SH Figuarts should look like, okay? Or even better, right? Not with that soft, generic stuff, okay? Leave that, as I said, leave the generic, soft, whatever stuff for Dragon Stars, okay? SHF needs to look like I have the manga in my hand. Figuart. I want Figuart. I don't want this. I don't want this generic basic stuff. I want this from Bandai. That is what I want from Bandai. You want $65? Give me that, okay? Another example of a third-party head sculpt that should have no reason to exist. This should have no reason to exist because Bandai should already be making head sculpts of this quality. This is the quality Bandai should be making. The reason third-party head sculpts are so popular, so widely sought after, is because Bandai gives us this, which does not feel like the manga. It does not feel like the anime. It does not make you feel like you have Toriyama's art in your hand, okay? We need this from Bandai. You want $65? Give me that, not this, okay? And as I said, they exist because Bandai leaves a lot to be desired, right? People want to have the anime in their hands, okay? And Bandai does not provide that to the highest level, to the best of their ability. They do not. When you look at Storm Arena, let's go back to that. When you look at this, it's like there isn't much way to even improve on this. It's like, this is perfect. Like, you can't even make this better, I don't think, you know? Like, this just looks fantastic. You can tell Storm Arena, they give that effort, man, where they're like, we're gonna make this thing look absolutely jaw-droppingly perfect. And they do. But Bandai gives you this compared to this. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want this or better from Bandai, okay? And another thing I want to mention is, it's kind of weird, like, Bandai seems to give like third-party level head sculpts to other anime, but with the Dragon Ball, they almost always don't make the protagonist look perfect. The best they've made for Goku, as I said, I believe is lowest born Saiyan. But look at this Gohan figure, right, from Hunter x Hunter. It looks exactly like the anime. Like, I don't even think you can improve on this. Like, it looks just like the anime, right? Spot on. I mean, it's literally like, you might even look better than the anime, right? So why can they make him look like this, just like the anime, spot on perfection, but you can't make Goku look like this? You can't make Goku look like this? You can't make Goku look like this? Why not? Why does Goku have to look generic and basic compared to the manga and the anime? Why? And then Gohan over here in his little green clothes has to look perfect. No, I want Goku to look perfect like this too. Okay? And there are a million Gokus. It's not like if you make the great Goku, you can never make another Goku. You know how many looks for Goku there are? How many different outfits? You got Yardrat Goku, End of Z Goku, GT Goku. I don't know, you could make different versions of it, I don't know, whatever, but I want my Goku to look like this, okay? This is what I want from my Goku. I want him to look like this. Perfection. I want the anime in my hand as an action figure, not this. Not this generic stuff that doesn't pop, okay? It doesn't pop. It doesn't have that life to it, right? It doesn't have that artistic life. And look at this. Bandai can, indeed, they can make the it factor sculpts. They can do it. SHF should look like this Figuarts Zero statue. Look at this statue. Look at this statue. Look how incredibly detailed that is. Look how spot on it looks to the real Goku right here. And then look at this mess over here. Look at this. Seriously, look at this. Do you think that is worthy of a name like SH Figuarts, man? No, it's not. Look at that. Really look, compare that to this or this. This looks exactly like the actual art right here, right? See how cool that looks? SH Figuarts should look like this. This is what they should look like. This is what SH Figuarts should look like. Action figure versions of this stuff. It's even called Figuarts Zero. So why does Figuarts Zero look better than Figuarts? Because I mean, zero is even less than one. Why does the one that's less than one look better than the actual one? Like, that's just weird. Figuarts Zero looks like this, like breathtaking statue straight out of the anime. And then this is the SH Figuarts? No, it's unacceptable, man. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Like, it's honestly, like, it's actually like upsetting to see. I'm like, seriously? So you're making this as a statue, and then this is the figure you give me for like $62? No, man. Like, no, right? You think this is worth $62? Look at this. Really look at this. Look at the source material. Look at the source material. Look at this artwork. And then look at this. You think that is worth $62? No. You want $62? You give me this as an action figure. That's what I want for $62. If you give me this as an action figure, I'd be like, okay, this thing looks flipping incredible. Like, this might be worth the $62, man. But this, no, this basic plain thing, like no shading on it. The hair is not even like, the hair doesn't even look as big or anything. Like, what is this? What is this? No, this is not to be called Figuarts. That is very basic and generic. What is that, right? So yeah, it honestly looks like very little effort went into sculpting it, as I put here, like very little effort. It doesn't look like someone took the time to really capture the artwork and really refine the features. No, it looks like someone just, you know, did something in Blender and was like, hey, there's a head sculpt, there you go. You know, so basic for $62. And honestly, like, it looks kind of like this right here. I mean, this is a bit of an exaggeration, but like this right here, see how basic that looks? It really does look like that, right? As I said, I'm only partially kidding here. Like, it looks like this, very basic, very generic, very plain, not much features. Look at that. It more so resembles this than this, but this is what we want, right? I would think any collector would say, I want this, right? Would you not rather have this as a figure than this thing over here? Look at this, seriously. Would you not want to have this in your hand as an action figure? Yes, of course you would. Of course you would. This is what SH Figuarts should be, okay? Let's touch on Gohan, right? This part is actually very upsetting for me. Like, it actually, like, I feel enraged just thinking about this. So upset about this. So since Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan is my favorite Dragon Ball character, I wanted to throw Gohan in here too, right? The SHF Gohan that surpassed Goku or whatever looks nowhere near as good as it should. Nowhere near. Look at that basic looking face there, and then look at the manga here. Does that look like a spot on recreation of the manga? Does that look like figure art to you? No. Look at that basic generic face there, man. And then look at this. Look at this beautiful art. This beautiful art. Does it capture that? Does it capture the feeling of that? When you look at this figure, do you feel like, wow, so beautiful? Look at the detail and the lines and the colors are vibrant. And no, of course not. Compare that to this. This is what SH Figuarts should look like. SH Figuarts should look like articulated action figures of this. That's what they should be. What was his price? Was his price like was it like 55? It might have been 60 something. You want 60 something dollars for this? For this? No. Unacceptable, man. Unacceptable. And it's weird because like I never noticed how poorly made a lot of SH Figuarts are from in the sculpting department until very recently. I was like, when I started looking at the manga and stuff and really focusing and thinking about this more, I'm like, wait a minute. This is what we should be getting. This doesn't look like this. This looks like a child drew it or something, you know? Like, what is this? This basic mess. What is this? Right? So it's because of Bandai's laziness and cheapness that third-party head sculpts are a thing, like a big thing. If Gohan already looked like this from Bandai, why would we need Air, HM, or whom or whoever? Like, why? We wouldn't really need that stuff. Unless they were giving us like extra expressions or something, but we wouldn't really need them. But we need them because Bandai's making this nonsense for $60+ $60+ for this? When you're supposed to be making this? No. Absolutely not. No, man. No. So yeah, third-party head sculpts and stuff, they might not even exist if Bandai made SH Figuarts look like figure arts, okay? Instead of this generic stuff they have here. Really, look how basic that looks compared to the manga. It's just not even, there's no comparison. And you want over $60 for this? No. And look how this third-party head sculpt puts SHF to shame. Look at this. It captures the manga much more closely than the SHF one does. Look how basic that is. And compare it to this. Seriously, right? This should not be the case. Third-party head sculpts should not make Bandai look that bad. Bandai should already look like this or better. Okay? SH Figuarts should already look like this or better, right? Why do people buy third-party head sculpts like crazy? Because they know that Bandai does not do the best they could, and they usually don't capture the source material to a high level. They almost always make generic, basic stuff. That's why people buy these head sculpts and stuff, because they know this doesn't look that great. It doesn't look incredible. It doesn't, blow you away. You're not like, wow. No. Look at that. Let's look at Super Saiyan 2 Gohan as well. Now, this is just embarrassing. This is so upsetting to me. This is so disappointing for me. I mean, this is my favorite Dragon Ball character here. And he looks like the bad Dragon Ball Super art. He looks like the bad Dragon Ball Super animation. Literally, this looks like the bad animation from Dragon Ball Super, the early episodes. You can't tell me this doesn't look atrocious. You can't tell me that. You cannot tell me this does not look hideous. I mean, looking at it now, I'm like, what the heck? And this at, I think it was SDCC, was for $90 with the Ghost Goku. $90. $90 for this. Are you serious? $90 for this? Right? And once again, it's not like Bandai doesn't have the skill to make incredible stuff. They do. Look at this Gohan right here. Look at this, right? This is Figuarts Zero as well. Look at this. Why doesn't he look like this? Why does this not look, even the hair looks weird. Why does he not look like this? Look how cool he looks over here. Super Saiyan 2 Teen Gohan to me looks so cool. So cool. But this figure doesn't look cool. It doesn't look cool. It looks basic. It looks weird. It doesn't even look like Gohan, really. It looks just like someone drew some eyes in a mouth and that was it. It just looks so basic. He should look like this. The SH Figuarts Super Saiyan 2 Gohan should look like this or better. This is what it should look like. You want $90 with a Ghost Goku? Give me this. Give me that. Don't give me this generic mess here, okay? But they choose to make SHF look like basic nonsense instead of making them what they should be. Articulated, statuesque art. This is what SH Figuarts should look like. Or better. This one isn't I don't think it's perfect because it has some weird texture on there. I don't know what that is, but you see the vision. You see the vision, right? SH Figuarts should look like this. Not this. This is SH Figuarts for $90? When I have Storm Arena for $30 looking like a statue? No. The SHF should be an articulated version of this. This is what SH Figuarts Super Saiyan 2 Gohan should look like. An articulated version of that. Not this, okay? The SHF literally looks like a child drew Gohan and they made it into a figure. Anyone could draw that, okay? Your aunt could draw this. Look at how basic that doesn't require any skill to draw. Look at that. There's no artistry there. There's no life to this. There's no vibrancy here, okay? No vibrancy. It doesn't have the life this has. It doesn't have that life to it. It looks just dull, plain, and basic, right? They want insane amounts of money for this? No. No. You have to really think about this stuff, man. It's called figure arts and they look like this. When you can also, you have the ability to make this, right? And you're giving us this for $90 with a Ghost Goku that looks basic? No, man. Figure arts. No, this is not figure arts, man. Come on, man.